Good morning and welcome to Serve Sunday 2020. I'm Rusty and I'm the lead executive pastor here at Rainier View, and I've got my official Serve Sunday t-shirt on. Serve Sunday has become one of Rainier View's favorite and most effective community outreach events over the past couple of years. We started this 2 years ago, so it's becoming kind of a tradition where we take a Sunday morning and instead of having services, we live out the biblical value of serving together in our community, specifically with our schools. Now, while everything is different in 2020, including how we serve this morning, it's not going to keep us from being great neighbors to our schools by doing some late summer landscaping. At Rainier View, we're not afraid of a little sweat and hard work. In fact, we enjoy it. So for Rainier View Online this morning, Jeff is here with a unique approach to a short but important message about the high calling of serving unconditionally. After Jeff is finished, we're going to try something new. We hope technology will cooperate. We're doing a live look-in at both our campuses during our Serve Sunday efforts. We'll have our roving reporters showing and talking to our Rainier View friends as they serve at both Washington High School, Shining Mountain Elementary School, so stay tuned for that. Now, here's Jeff.
Hey Rainier View, welcome. My name is Jeff. I'm one of the teaching pastors here, and welcome to Serve Sunday. This Sunday is a little bit different for us, but we're still excited about making a difference in our community. Hey, so as I'm getting ready, it got me thinking about the tools that I'll need to make Serve Sunday successful as we go to just do some beautification on some of our school campuses locally. I've got my shed here, and so you'll see there's not a whole lot in here, but I do have a couple tools that I do know how to use. So I've got my rake here, and I'm gonna be ready to rake up some stuff with that. Also, I've got my shovel here ready to go, and a pointed edge shovel, and there's so many things that I could do with that. And then I got my wheelbarrow down here. And so, I'm pretty much ready to go for Serve Sunday. But it got me thinking, getting these tools ready, that a lot of times we think we need more. We need other tools to accomplish the projects or the tasks or the good things we want to do. And so often we end up talking about what we want to do rather than getting started, rather than taking action, because we're focused again on what we don't have rather than what can I do with the tools that are in my hand right now. And thinking about the good things that God has placed in our hand, what can we actually accomplish? There's so much that we have really lost out on this season, right? And you might be grieving some of those losses. Some of us are really still grieving that our Sunday morning gatherings are not as regular or the same as they were prior to COVID. Some of us are just a little tweaked that college football is not going to be the same this year, right, in the fall. And what's that going to look like? And what are Seahawks games really going to be like with no fans in the stadium? And even really on a personal note for me, I'm still grieving that my kids aren't going to start the school year live on campus, even part-time, that it's all virtual, right? And so there's this sense, I don't know where you're at, but I think we're all feeling that same sense of really loss, right? We're grieving and processing in different ways, but we all share that same feeling that something is missing, something's not quite right, and it's this mixture of something that can be paralyzing at times and equally maddening at the same time. And often we just don't know really what to do about it. And so we believe really that God is inviting us through Jesus to really live in a different state. Not in a different state like Montana, right? Hawaii sounds pretty cool to me, but moving your location isn't going to fix your problems. That's not what's really getting in the way. The invitation by Jesus is really to change the state of our inner lives, right? To orient our inner lives around loving God and loving others and centering our lives around that truth. And so that's an invitation that any and all of us can take up, and we can get started with whatever God has placed in our hands today. We can begin with that, right? And so it's interesting to see in the Bible that we are never meant to just be kind of stuck where we are. God invites us to not focus on what we don't have, but picking up the tools that we do have and getting started. And so I want to read a little bit from just a few different parts in the Bible, because we see in these different groups of people, we see this similar encouragement over and over again to do good, with what we've got. And so in Galatians 6:9, we read this encouragement. It says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." And then to another group of people, we see in Ephesians 2, verse 10, "For we are God's masterpieces. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things he planned for us long ago." And yet to another group of people, to the letter to the Colossians, we see this encouragement. Starting in chapter 4, verse 4, he says, "Pray that I will proclaim this message as clearly as I should, live wisely among those who are not believers, and make the most of every opportunity." Making the most of every opportunity. And so again, we can get hung up on what we cannot do, but God is inviting us to focus again on the tools that he's placed in our hand to do good in our world with what we do have. You know, I was kind of bummed thinking about this year at Serve Sunday because we're a few years in now, and I was excited about ramping this up and doing it even bigger and looking for ways to innovate and maximizing our impact, because while it's great that we do some beautification on our campuses and we give every teacher a gift, we always want to be looking at what is God calling to us to step into next. But in this season, we actually have to kind of pull back a bit. We're not able to expand. And so what are we supposed to do? Nothing? We're supposed to just talk about it? No, we need to remember that encouragement from Galatians 6, verse 9. Let us not weary of doing good. And so we're going to step in and we're going to continue to serve our communities and serve our schools with the tools that are in our hands. And so thinking about this morning right now, if you're joining us, you might not be able to join us live. But wherever you're at, what are the tools that God has placed in your hand to do good? For instance, can you use your hands to write a note of encouragement to somebody who needs their spirit lifted this week? That might be a tool that God has placed in your hand. Can you pick up the phone and call somebody to remind them that they are not alone? That could be a tool that God's placing in your hand. In this season, can your home become a church where you have 5 people in your quarantine bubble and that becomes church on Sundays? Can you transform your home into a church? Maybe that's a tool that God is placing in your hand. Maybe thinking about your neighborhood and just what's a way to serve your neighbors? Maybe even just asking those with kids, hey, would it be possible for me to just safely read to your kids for a half an hour, maybe a few times a week, just to take some of the pressure of doing school at home off your plate? Maybe that's a tool that God's placing in your hands. Here's the thing, I don't know. But what I love about Rainier View is that we are a people that look for the opportunities rather than get defeated. We are a people who really learn to pick up the tools that we have and get to work with them. You know, one of our members was sharing a story about how he really wanted to do something rather than be defeated by the season. And so he just decided to unofficially become the block captain of his neighborhood. And so for the 24 homes and the couple of cul-de-sacs, he just took it upon himself to check in on every single neighbor. And he's sharing these stories about connection and just them feeling blessed by that connection and him being blessed in return. But I love the line that he shared that he wrote in, that he said something along these lines, and I want to read it to you guys. He said, "I miss the Sunday gatherings, but that is only one day of the week. There are 6 other days that we need to use." You know, in this season, I don't want us to miss out on that truth, that we need to learn that as important as gathering is for us, that there is so much more to do. There's so much good to do in our world. And so it starts with recognizing, what is the opportunity that God has placed in my hand? How can I use that as a tool to do good in my world? And so, hey, we hope that you're going to be able to join us for Serve Sunday Live. If not, you can hop over on our Facebook Live and check out some of the action. But if you're watching this after the fact, again, hope to see you back here at one of our future services on a Sunday. But let's go ahead and check out what's happening at our sites. Hey, let's load up and go.
Like Jeff said earlier and I mentioned earlier, we want to actually show you what Rainier View is doing this morning. So if you're watching live in the 9 a.m. hour on Facebook, just stay on this page or head over there and you'll be able to participate from where you are. As you celebrate communion, you might consider using Matthew 20, verses 25 through 28 as a preparation thought. All right, stay tuned for a Facebook Live look-in at what's going on at our neighborhood schools.